Hey coach, if you are spending 10 plus hours per week checking who hasn't checked in, updating spreadsheets and like sending client contracts when they sign up, you're wasting a lot of time and to be honest, you're spending a lot of time on bullshit tasks that could have been automated completely and you're just feeling like you're super busy but nothing's actually growing the business. So what we're going to talk about is why 95% of coaches stay doing these repetitive, automatable tasks and what the 5% do differently to be able to break free from this kind of stuff. And yeah, we're going to do it step by step. I'm going to go draw a little bit on the iPad. I'm going to be talking a little bit here. So yeah, it'll be very laid back. So if you're not familiar with who I am, my name's Aaron. I make systems and automations for coaches to essentially save you time, upgrade your client delivery, and then from there generate more revenue. So if you like any of those things, this is going to be important for you. Now, this is actually my second take because I recorded the first one, but it wasn't actually recording. So bear with me. We are just going to get the iPad up here now and we'll kind of go through it step by step. Alright, so let's start off by looking at why 95% of coaches are wasting time and what the 5% of other coaches are doing to kind of break free from that and actually get a little bit of freedom back into their lives. Because unfortunately, a lot of us, we started our own businesses because we're like, oh, we want more free time and to set our schedules and stuff like that. And then we just end up working for the worst bosses that we could ever actually work for ourselves. So let's try to change that a little bit. Now, if you are manually updating spreadsheets to do with your clients with like their weights and like what you did with them and like if you're updating, oh, they're currently green or they're currently red or like they need more attention, like all this stuff could be done automatically. And same with like sending contracts, taking payments from clients, and like actually tracking the finances of the business and scheduling sessions, just manually when you need to do it. All of this stuff here is busy work that could be automated and it takes you away from actually working on the things that matter in your business to make it grow. Or if you don't need it to grow and are happy with the size of your business, it's just taking away time that you could be doing something else. So what we need to do is we need to make sure that we are automating the client tracking. So we can automate knowing where our clients are, if they're struggling, if they're doing well, if they're not doing well, if they need help, any of the other client data, like what did we say to this client on this check-in? What did we say on that check-in call? So I'm about to jump on a call. What did I say last time? All of that data can be completely automated where you don't need to do it. And with that, you could automate the onboarding, automate the payment tracking, and doing all this allows you to focus on the actual coaching and the growing of the business. So let's go take a look at the kind of pain cycle that a lot of you are currently stuck in, unfortunately. Now, when I was a coach, I definitely experienced this. I experienced it a few times where I got to the stage of I was taking on more clients. So you add new clients, but add new clients, we get more admin work because we have more check-ins to complete. We have more contracts to send, more welcome emails, more programming, and all of this other stuff that we have to do with the coaching. And then when we have more admin work, it actually reduces the amount of coaching time that we give to the clients. And then when we reduce the amount of coaching time, we hit that growth ceiling, and unfortunately the service levels of the business often drop, and then we get to this point where we're thinking, well, if things keep going like this, I don't have time to do these other parts of the business, so I have to outsource or I have to go hire somebody to work as a client success coach. And then you have this kind of, I suppose, business setup where you're the main coach, but then under you have all these other coaches where you're then basically having to manage, and all these other staff members where you're giving them responsibilities, but you're still having to manage them and see are they actually doing the kind of stuff. And that's not what we want. And that's exactly what my client Charlie thought that he was going to have to do with his business then as well. So Charlie was about to hire a coach when we actually met. This is Charlie here. And after we did an audit of his business, we could see that there was no clear pipeline of all his leads. We couldn't tell who he contacted, who he didn't contact, where exactly they were in the buying journey. Had they booked a call? Had they been offered a call? Did they book a call? Did they close? Did they not close? What cash was collected? Like all of this data, it just wasn't there. And then any of the parts they did have, he was then having to track manually. And when the sales calls happened, there was like no tracking of that, right? What did they pay versus what did they contract, so that we could see like, well, if we get 10 sales calls, what's our show rate, our close rate, our average customer spend, so we'd be able to tell roughly how much income we're going to be earning over the next 30 days if all the sales calls take place. Then with the onboarding and offboarding, It was entirely manual. Like, he was spending hours each week, because when I met Charlie, he had a really good business in terms of sales and lead generation. He had been working with a mentor for a long time, and they get on great, and they're really, really good. Like, his business is growing massively. And all of this still with the fact that he was manually onboarding clients and offboarding clients every single week and spending a lot of time doing that. So now that he doesn't do that anymore, there's so much more potential for growth with him. But every week it was manual. If he took on 10 clients, he then had 10 hours that week just onboarding clients, and that wasn't ideal. We also noticed that there was no centralized hub for his clients, because he was just using his training app. We could see, yeah, you had all these clients here, and some people had training programs, some didn't, but the metrics and stuff that you get with that training app, it's only giving you a little bit of the picture. There was no direct link between the training sessions and the training app and the client's check-ins and the client's calls and their call notes and where they were on the client journey. There was no place to be able to view everything all in one. And then with the check-ins, it was just the same check-in form that the clients were completing every week, if they even completed it. Because when they're completing the same one every week, they get bored of it. You're getting all the same data every week, so then you have to kind of wade through all the data to see what's actually important. And we realized that, like, this was wasting a lot of time, as check-ins used to take them like 2 to 3 days in the week to complete all the check-ins. So what we said was, right, let's build out a logic-based check-in system. It will be able to adapt to the clients as they're completing it. So we'll see, like, right, well, this person's having a great time, and let's go ask them these questions, compared to this person struggling, let's go follow up with these questions. That way we were able to personalize the check-in to the client, and then that way it gave the client a better experience. They were more likely to complete the check-in. It also gave the coach better data, so he didn't have to spend all that time wading through it. And then from there, he was actually able to reduce his check-in time down to like a few hours. He said he was completing like 45-ish check-ins in like 3 to 4 hours. It's on his testimonial anyway. You'll see it if you check it out. But with the check-ins, the call notes and everything like that, we needed a place that would be central for them. And with financial tracking as well, there was no automatic financial tracking. Yes, he was using Stripe, so if he went into his reports there, he could see that, but that wasn't giving him very useful data that he can use in a day-to-day basis to know when he can invest, when he can buy certain things. So tracking that financial data made it a lot clearer. Now, what I want for you is, in this kind of video series, I'm going to cover a few different things to kind of help you achieve this, but I want you to save about 10 hours per week. Because if you can get 10 hours per week, you can obviously, get back your time, but like, you can focus on what matters in the coaching business. If you're not doing all these automatable tasks that don't need to be done by you, you can then spend that time either focusing on the clients, focusing on more sales. You could create a more of like lifestyle freedom, where you're traveling more, or you're just playing Xbox more, or you're just going to the gym more, doing whatever you want. But if I can give you 10 hours in your week, you'll be able to decide what you do with it, and yeah, it's going to be great for you. So in recording tomorrow, but in the next video that you're going to watch, you're going to see some actual systems that you can put together. But before you do that, it's important to know where you need to automate and where you need to delegate and what you should do. Now, we want to follow this simple rule. We want to automate first, and then we want to hire after that, because staff, they cost us money each year, and systems save us money each year. So let's put this into context. If you're an American coach, just because most of my audience are American or Canadian, if you're an American coach and you hire a support coach, you pay this coach $25 an hour, and let's say they work 10 to 15 hours per week. Not a lot, they'll be able to handle a few clients and everything like that. But that coach is going to cost you, just monetary wise, not to mind the time that you're going to spend managing that coach. That coach is going to cost you somewhere between like $10,000 to $15,000 per year, compared to if you just set up systems where it saves you $10,000 to $15,000 per year if you were to do that. But it also frees up the time for you to coach more clients. So if you wanted to take on the same amount of clients that that coach was going to do, you're going to make a lot more than $10,000 or $15,000 per year, because I assume you'll be making more than $25 an hour. So automate, then delegate. Okay. Now, what systems do you actually need to be able to save like 10 to 15 hours per year, or just really free, or not per year, per week, for the rest of the year, to be able to free up your time and just live, I suppose, a nicer life, where you're not working for that terrible boss that is yourself, making you work 24/7. Now, we need to set up some lead gen and tracking systems. We need to have a system where it's going to help us generate leads and track the leads and know where they are in the pipeline, help us proactively reach out to those leads to know like when we need to follow up, when we don't need to follow up, and get them moving through our kind of sales pipeline. We also need a system for client management and accountability to know like, right, well, what clients are struggling, what clients are doing really well, and then of the clients who are struggling, we can then go put more of our attention to those clients. But we need a way to be able to see this, and we need a way to be able to kind of, I suppose, preemptively jump in before the clients get to that stage where they're like ready to jump off a cliff. We need to be able to act on the data that we're getting from all these coaching apps and all these kind of coaching processes that we go through with the clients. Then we need an onboarding and sales system. We need a system that's going to take the clients through the sales process and then all the way through the onboarding process, so that more clients doesn't mean more admin work. We can take on more clients. Because if I said to you, right, you are going to take on 20 clients in the morning, I say, lovely, loads of cash, love it. But then the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to go, oh shit, I have to make 20 new programs, I have to go send out 20 new emails, I have to send out 20 contracts, I need to hire somebody to help me manage all these clients. And that's not true. We just need to be a lot smarter about the way that we use systems and automation in our business to be able to, I suppose, run more of like a solo business if we want, and still be able to have that financial and time freedom. That's probably why you set up the business. So we need onboarding and sales. Then we need referrals and testimonials, because a lot of the time you will have the potential to be able to get the referrals and the testimonials from what you're already doing, but you're just thinking that we need to just go ask the client for the referral, and like, when do we ask them? We forget to ask them at this time. We can set up a system where, first of all, we only ask the right people at the right time. The last thing that we want to do is ask a client for a Google review when they're having a terrible experience. It's not going to work well. We want to make sure we're only asking the people who are likely to give us a good review and a good testimonial, and we only ask them at the right times. So we can do this by two ways. We can do it by a time-based trigger, where once there are a certain amount of time in the program, we'll ask them a few questions. Depending on how the questions are coming, we might ask them for a testimonial or review, or we might leave it because it's not going to be great. Or we might use a behavior-based trigger, where if this client is over a certain amount of days into the program, they have a training and nutrition compliance over a certain amount, and let's say they just had a green check and then they haven't completed a service review in the last 90 days, well, then we might get them to complete a service review, and then the questions will use logic to be kind of tailored to the clients, and then it will generate some testimonials and referrals for you automatically. It's one of those things where you just set it up once, you leave it run in the background, and you don't need to worry about it again. And then the last part is the offboarding and nurturing, because a lot of the time coaches, when they finish up with clients, they take them off the apps and they just say, go on, good luck, you're out of here, see you later. But we're missing a massive opportunity for bringing back in old clients into the program. Obviously, only the clients we want. Sometimes we just don't want clients back, and that's totally cool. But we shouldn't be just sending them off. We can put in systems where once the offboarding is complete, that it automatically puts them through that process, but then it creates professional stuff for that client where it nurtures them for a period of time and then offers them back into the coaching program then again when the time is right. So these systems will be kind of going over this over the next few videos as well, and actual implementation of that. But first we need to figure out what are the bottlenecks in your business, because it's likely different to everybody else's, because it's your business. And yeah, see what we need to automate, what we need to delegate, and what we need to leave right there. So on this not very good graph that I'm going to work you through here, we have the x-axis, which has short time, and then going over to long time. And then we have the y-axis, which is going to be low value going up to high value. What we want to do is we want to have a look at all the different areas of our business and see what tasks we currently do and where they fall inside this area. This is going to help us know what we need to completely automate, what we need to just get rid of, and what we need to actually delegate, and what we need to keep ourselves to make sure that we are going to be using our time the best way. So to help you fill this out, you're going to take like 15 minutes to do this. I won't do it here with you. That would just be awkward. But what we'll do is we'll use this here now to see like, right, roughly where should tasks kind of fall on this. So you'll start off by doing the short time to long time. So think of a task in any area of the business and where does it fall along there. So for example, a 30-minute onboarding call, it only takes 30 minutes. It's not that much time. Even if you had to do 10 of them in the week, it's still pretty okay. But it's really high value to the client. The client really gets a lot of value from it, and you should probably keep that. So This would be short enough time, but it would be super high value. But let's look at the complete opposite end of the spectrum now, where we look at sending onboarding materials. This takes quite a lot of time. If you're going writing a welcome email and then you send that to the client and then you're sending them the intake form, then you're going and you're attaching a PDF to their profile in a training app, and then you're giving them training app access and you're doing all this. That's a lot of time wasted that could be automated. It's not that high value. Like, the client wouldn't give a shit if you sent them a PDF manually or if a system sent the PDF from you. Like, they just don't care. They care about the results, being heard, and actually being supported along the way. So that would be something that you would completely automate. The same then with like checking who checked in and who didn't check in. Like, that's not a good use of your time to be going looking through a list and cross-referencing who checked in, who didn't check in. Oh, I better go send this guy a message now because he didn't check in. Let a system do it. It'll automatically track who checked in, who didn't, and then the people who didn't check in, you'll say, hey, we don't actually see your check-in, what's going on, and send them another reminder then as well. So take the time to go through your business and jot down all of the different tasks going across there. You can start off with lead gen, then sales, then onboarding, client management, check-ins, client call management, referrals and testimonials, offboarding, financial management, all of these different areas. Write down all the tasks. And then what you're going to do is anything that is inside, let's say, this kind of box here, don't get rid of it. You're not going to be doing this anymore. Completely automate that. Anything that is inside this box here, you are going to keep, and you're not going to touch that. That is like, keep it the way it is. It doesn't take very long and super high value. And then anything that's up in this box here, or up in this box here, or down in this box here, it's kind of up to you about what you want to do with it. I realize I probably should have used different colors to demonstrate this, but it's okay. So anything here in the top red and the bottom red, it's kind of up to you, where it's like, it takes a long time, but super high value. That would be like, really personalized exercise programming. Takes a long time, but it's super high value to some niches of clients. Versus some stuff that's like, it's low value, but like it takes pretty much zero time whatsoever, that it would actually cost more to set up an automation for that, or the time that it takes is like nothing. I'm trying to think of a task now that's like low value, but it takes like pretty much no time. That could be on the sales call, like just tracking the actual payments collected, where you type a number into a box, done. Like, I wouldn't really bother with the automating of that part, but go through your business and figure out what's going on in all of these different areas. So in the next episode that you watch, hopefully you'll have done all this kind of stuff. We're going to go through 3 different systems that you can use to save around 10 hours per week. Obviously, it all depends on the scale of your business. That could be 100 hours of staff, depending on the size of business, or it could be 5 hours. But roughly 10 hours is kind of where we find. So we're going to go through 3 systems, kind of how to set them up, where you can kind of copy it. There'll be some resources, some tutorials and things. And yeah, we're going to show you what systems you can set up inside there. And then if you want to see, I suppose, the full breakdown of Charlie's business and what we did to work on his stuff, or any of the other testimonials, or if you want to see what it looks like to actually work with me on a one-to-one basis to just get all of your systems and automations built exactly to your business and personalized and done start to finish, drop me a message with the word offer over on Instagram, and I'll send you through the full document. It has testimonials, client case studies, you'll see all that kind of stuff, and it shows you the exact process of what it's like to work with me and like what we do and everything, including the investment. So you'll be able to check that out there. And then if you start implementing systems and automations, or if you have something that you're like, hey, I don't really know how to implement this, I know the problem, but I don't know the system to set that up to get it fixed, pop it over to me on Instagram, and we'll have a chat, and I'll basically kind of guide you in the right direction on there. So next video, we're going to go through 3 systems and automations that you can set up to actually save like 10 hours per week. And if you have any questions, just feel free to pop them over to me.